Hello and welcome back to Sonny Talk Spurs. It's been a long while, I know, but I'm back now and ready than ever for the new season and the transfer window coming up. And those of you who may not have known, I was out in Germany for the Euros, for Euro 2024, for the entirety of the tournament. You know, all 5 weeks following England across Germany. I think I did about 4,000 miles in a van across the country with my fellow colleagues Faye Carruthers and Ed Huntley. But I'm back now and ready to sink my teeth into some Tottenham stuff. But if you want to know a bit more about my time in Germany, my next podcast, where you can become a member of the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, the nice one, Sonny Podcast to be precise, I'll, let a little bit of insight out and sort of tell you about my time in the country, what I was doing with talkSPORT, all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, to hear that, you basically got to become a member. Link in the description down below. But today we're back. We're talking about Tottenham and more specifically transfers because, I've been over it for the last couple of weeks. I had a little holiday last week as well. But I've been on Twitter, X as you can call it as well, and kept an eye over, some of our outgoings, some of our incomings as well. Sort of seeing what Tottenham are trying to build. What are we trying to do? What direction are we heading in? And it's becoming more apparent of what Spurs are aiming to do under Ange Postecoglou. And to start with that, I think it's a really good direction. We're, signing some really high prospect players who have got a lot of potential but need a manager who is going to sort of put their arm around them and get the best out of them. For example, Archie Gray. Archie Gray has got so much potential at 18 years old. Signed from Leeds, obviously, earlier in the window for about 40 million, with Joe Rodon going the other way for 10. So it's about 30 million pounds when all is said and done. But I really like this transfer. He's looked good in our first 2 pre-season games against Hearts and obviously QPR as well, playing in like a sort of centre-back role as well. He's usually used to playing a 6 or a right-back for Leeds as he did in their promotion push last season. But this season, I feel like we're going to see a lot of him. We're going to see him in that midfield, a nice midfield maybe of like, some options that we can pick from though. You got Sarr, you got Bentancur, you got Maddison, you got Lucas Bergvall. Speaking of Lucas Bergvall, has looked good as well. Obviously signed him in January and loaned him back to his club. But, another one in this, revolution of youngsters. Our average age of the squad has come down drastically, which is so good to see. We had a lot of aging players, our Eric Dyers, Hugo Lloris's, and it was good to ship a few of them out quite early because with this new sort of, stat-based scouting network that we're sort of developing with Johan, Lange and Fabio Paratici, it's good to see us really trying to find some good talent, English talent as well, which I like to see because we really have lacked with our, homegrown quota. But even seeing some good minutes for some youngsters, Jed Spence coming back into the fold as well, Will Lange, Jamie Donnelly, Mikey Moore. I've done a video on Mikey Moore and how he could be the next best thing. It's good to see all these players come into the fold. And another player who we're basically odds on to signing, I think we've just got to dot the T's and cross the I's. I've done that the wrong way around, but you know what I mean, is Min-Hyuk Yang, the Korean winger who is, so full of promise. And I've seen, the fan base is sort of a bit, I don't know how to word this, a bit split on this signing because, he's got a lot of potential, but a lot of Tottenham fans want us to sign players for the here and now, which is understandable because you got to think, under Ange Postecoglou, we want to go to the next level, we want to compete, we want to win trophies, and this is a player who he's getting loaned back and he'll be a Spurs player come January, I believe, which is the case we've done this a few times. As I say, we did it with Lucas Bergvall, we're doing it with Luka Vuskovic, who I think is joining next summer now when he turns 18 because we signed him at 16 years old. But I'm all for it. I'm all for this potential of this. These players are ones that Ange Postecoglou likes. He wants them. We've seen, as I say, the average age has dropped significantly. We've now got a defence who is, really prepared for the future. Mickey van der Ven, Christian Romero still young. Radu Dragusin, who had an amazing Euros for Romania. Our fullbacks are young. Our goalkeeper is young in regard to a goalkeeper. So we are really building a team that is going to be there for the next couple of years. Not just the here and now, which I'm going to get onto some here and now signings who we've been linked to, who I want to give my opinion on. But I really like the direction the club is heading in. Because, I'll just go back to when we've signed the likes of Roberto Soldado and, playing over the odds for a Brian Hill, and it didn't work out. Whereas this is a good fee for a good potential youngster. We don't know what will happen, but I think it's low risk but could have a high reward. Archie Gray, for example, a lot of money went on him, but everyone knows his potential. Everyone, who I've spoken to has said how good of a signing he will be. And, he will take time to blend into the way that we play our football, but I'm very hopeful of that. Now on to some linked signings I want to speak about. So first of all, I want to speak about Federico Chiesa from Juventus and what I think of this. Because a lot of people were debating, Spurs wingers, a first team wing. Obviously, I mentioned the Korean winger who we're set to sign. But we're being linked with some first team wingers, including Chiesa and also Pedro Neto. And a lot of people are debating between the two because Pedro Neto obviously has Premier League experience, but he's injury prone. And Federico Chiesa is a bit of an unknown entity in this regards to Premier League. But obviously, being Italian, being from Serie A, you can probably tell that's probably a Fabio Paratici potential signing. But what do I think of Chiesa? I like the idea of Chiesa. I think he's a good age. He's got, hitting his peak. He's been good for Juventus, quite consistent, quite a direct winger, which I think we need in our ranks. It'll be interesting to see how we line up. Would he automatically be a starter? But I like the idea of this signing. I assume it would be for a fee. I'm not sure how much it would cost as of yet. In regard to Pedro Neto, I'm not really sure about Pedro Neto. I think he's got great ability. I think he's a good potential player. He's shown it in the Premier League. But my one worry is his injury proneness. He spent a lot of last season on the sidelines. And we seen our injury record last season. Nearly every first team player was injured at one stage. So I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with this as if he could up his fitness and we could really get the most out of him, then I like it. I'll probably edge it over Chiesa. But I think now I'm more on the side of Chiesa. I'll put a poll above my head right now. Let me know who you'd rather sign between the two. And then other signings, I've spoken about these recently, Eze and Toney. I'd love us to sign probably Toney over Eze. If we sign one of those wingers, then probably Eze wouldn't be a priority. Depends on Crystal Palace. Obviously, a lot of their players being linked with moves away. But Toney, I just think, seeing murmurings of Toney. I saw a TalkSPORT thing about the potential of Toney joining and setting his eyes on Spurs over the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea. I think we still need a striker. I mean, my last video was about 20 days ago about that. I still stand by that we need a striker. Someone who, the amount of chances Spurs create under Ange Postecoglou, I think it was our second highest goal scorer in Premier League season last term. But we need someone on the end of these chances. I like Timo Werner. I think he's got a lot of energy, but a lot of balls that fell to his feet ended up going into row Z, to the back of the net. And Toney, you could trust in a better team. I know last year he had his misdemeanors with the gambling, and he also, didn't score, I think, in 12 games in a row. But I think in a better team, that Brentford's team was struggling last season. I think, I worry for them this season as well. But I think under a better manager who's going to play more attacking football and, really get the most out of, and Buemo was injured. Vissa was carrying a lot of the load as well for Brentford last season. I think, with the likes of Son, take some pressure off him. I really dread to think what that front line would be like, Maddison in behind as well. But yeah, really happy with the direction we're going in with the transfers. Want us to really, sort of put more pen to paper. It's a lot of murmurings, the likes of Paul O'Keefe, Alasdair. There's not anything quite concrete at the moment. It's all a bit of, the Chiesa news is coming out of some Italian journalists, and you never know. It's hard to believe stuff until it's been Here We Go by Fabrizio Romano or exclusive by David Ornstein. But yeah, really optimistic about these transfers and the potential of it. I'm not sure when Tottenham's next. Let me have a look. Tottenham, where is their next? Tottenham, Vissel, Co. When is that game? Let me look. I'm just looking on the website because I've forgotten Saturday the 27th of July. So that is tomorrow. So this will be going live ahead of Spurs' game with Vissel Kobe. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one as well. Hopefully, you know, a few more players can get some first team minutes. But yeah, that's from me today. Obviously, going to be going more consistent with the videos because I've had a little bit of time off, as I say, at the Euros with talkSPORT. And obviously I had a little holiday as well to recharge those batteries. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed. If you are new around here, leave a like. Subscribe to Sonny Talk Spurs for a jam-packed season. It's going to be so exciting with Europa League football as well. And yeah, become a member in the link in the description down below as well. And until then, I'll see you guys pretty soon. Ciao.